appreciate you coming to cover the story today. We are the 20th caravan of Pastors for Peace to travel to Cuba as a challenge to the U.S. economic blockade. And I'm going to introduce to you, my name is Ellen Bernstein, I work with the organization. I'm going to introduce to you our first speaker, who is the founder and executive director of the organization, IFCO Pastors for Peace, who's the Reverend Lucius Walker.
People often wonder why we do this and what's the particular message for this caravan. And I'd like to summarize that in 2 words. Of course, there's always the truth about us that we don't consider Cuba our enemy, but rather our neighbor. And as people who are motivated by the great teachers of faith, we believe that we ought to love our neighbors. That means we have to act contrary to U.S. policy, which is an imposition of a blockade against Cuba to try to force it to do the will of the U.S. rather than to pursue its own path towards a better world. One of the things we want to do is to win more hearts and minds in the United States, to get the message to the Obama administration that the simple, small action that it has taken of relaxing the restrictions against travel by Cuban Americans to Cuba is notable, but it's not enough. There is so much that needs to be done. The freeing of the Cuban Five, the ending of economic restrictions, the total normalization of relations, the returning of Guantanamo to the Cubans, not just closing it, but returning it to Cuba. There is a list of the demands that we would make on the back of our t-shirt, and we ask that you help us to convey that message to the American people and to the Obama administration. While we're in the process of doing this work, we are very concerned with giving aid to Cuba to continue to rebuild after the devastation of the hurricanes from the last season. And so a lot of the aid we carry will be construction equipment and tools and items that will help Cuba in the process of continuing to rebuild the more than 5 million homes that were destroyed or damaged during the hurricane season.
Is the president of IFCO's board of directors. He is the pastor of the Monumental Baptist Church in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's the Reverend Thomas Smith.
We can't say enough about the tremendous outpouring of support that we received this year for the 20th Caravan to Cuba. From the Canadians, from Ottawa, all the way down throughout the United States. We've stopped in more than 130 cities where we've seen a tremendous gathering of people who are concerned about the United States policy towards Cuba. And they've manifested their love and their concern for the Cuban people with their donations of these vehicles that will be going to Cuba, as well as all of the humanitarian aid that we have on the vehicles. We're very appreciative for the concerns that they have. And we will be taking not only this aid to Cuba, but we will be taking the love of a lot of American citizens for the Cuban people with us as well.
Of directors who also directs an organization in New York City that's called Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees, Ninaj Raoul.
Hi, while we're concerned about bringing this solidarity aid to Cuba, we want you to know that this solidarity aid goes way beyond helping in Cuba, because Cuba has a history since 1963 of helping internationally, helping other countries, medical missions that started in Algeria in 1963. Cuba has helped throughout Central America during natural disasters, and I personally witnessed in Haiti the work that the Cuban physicians are doing in Haiti. There are about 800 physicians stationed in Haiti, where there are not nearly enough doctors in Haiti, and they're also providing scholarships for folks to come from Haiti and become doctors. The Cuban doctors that are in Haiti go in the deepest areas, in the most remote areas where oftentimes many Haitian doctors won't go because there are no roads, and they serve the people of Haiti. So bringing the solidarity aid to Haiti, to Cuba, that we're going to take starting tomorrow, is taking it throughout the whole world.
Yet another member of our board of directors, a Lutheran pastor and a well-known consultant and scholar in the area of anti-racism, the Reverend Joseph Barn.
I think it's really important to underscore the fact that we're not just doing a political journey. We are a religious organization. The IF of IFCO stands for Interfaith, and that we represent the profound theological and spiritual truth of all religions, that the sacredness of the human family, and that anything that breaks up the family is got to be considered that which we stand against and work towards reunifying. So we're about the restoring of the human family. And the human family between Cuba and the United States has been broken up by walls that do not deserve to be there. Wherever there is a wall built to divide the family, we think that we really need to be about the business of obeying God rather than humans, and that is the command of God to restore the family. So we participate in the reunification, the tearing down of walls, and the bringing of the family of God back together again.
Another pastor who's been very important to our Pastors for Peace team, who is a pastor, a chaplain, a consultant, and who has been a very faithful member of these caravans, not only to Cuba, but also to Chiapas and other locations. And from here in Texas, the Reverend Diane Baker. Woo!
I have learned through my ministry that Pastors for Peace is a one ministry and one service that allows for solidarity for all people who participate. All of us who are wearing these red t-shirts today and will wear them tomorrow will participate in the act of solidarity, being with, and that's something that we need to learn. Jesus and all of the different faiths, interfaith, have taught us that we as people need to and are compelled to be with one another. Take and bring a cup of cold water to those who need it. Our neighbors in Cuba are in need of a cup of cold water because we have put our foot on their necks, 11 million people, and now we bring a cup of cold water.